elections data. It was 79.5% electoral participation in 2012 and 86.4% in 2017. So it's a decent 3% jump that we have seen. In addition, out of the 60 constituencies, 36 assembly constituencies have recorded more than 90% voter turnout. That's a record for Manipur also. More than 36 assembly constituencies have recorded more than 90% voter turnout. And among the highest are Wangoi, which has recorded a voter turnout of 94.8%, Chandel 94.3%, Mayang Imphal 94.1%, Lamlai 93.7%, Tignopal 93.5%, Lamsang 93.4%, Hyanglam 93.4%, and Hairok 93.1%. You all must have realized I have hardly found anybody in Manipur who is a registered voter has not gone out to vote. So that is, I think, the strength of democracy in Manipur. One of the other key feature of the elections this time has been that the female participation has been much higher. The female voter turnout has been as high as 90.5% as compared to male turnout, which is recorded at 87.9%. That means 2.5% more females turned out to vote on the poll days. And this is in the background of the fact that our gender ratio in the elections, electoral rolls is 1065. That means for every 1,000 men as electors in the electoral roll, there is already 1065 female as electors in the electoral roll, implying thereby that the female electorate per se is 6% higher than the male. And even after that, the overall participation of female has been higher. Further, the other heartening feature of these elections have been that more than 90% of the PWD voters, around 14,565 PWD voters are marked on the electoral roll. More than 90% of them participated in the elections. And out of these, 1,235 PWD electors actually voted through postal ballots from the comfort of their homes. Similarly, out of 41,881 80 plus electors, 7,361 of them voted in comfort through postal ballots from comfort of their home. The polling parties visited them and got their vote casted through postal ballot. This was a new initiative by Election Commission of India, and that has actually benefited more than 8,000 people in this state. Further, one important feature that you all should note that more than 95% of the 100 plus voters came out to vote on the poll day. Either they voted through postal ballot, or who didn't vote through postal ballot actually came out to the polling booth and voted on the poll day. We have more than 700 100 plus voters in the electoral roll, and 95% of them has voted in these elections. For making voting for PWD and our elderly voters, making it smooth and making the whole experience enriching, the support of wheelchairs, support of pick-up and drop facilities, support of volunteers was made available at all the polling stations in the state, and many of them used this facility to ensure that they are having a good experience. Especially the volunteers at the polling stations came out very handy. They happily helped out all the elderly voters and PWD voters to move seamlessly to the polling booth and cast their vote. And they were also given priority voting queues, because their separate queue was maintained for PWD and elderly voters to ensure that they don't need to wait in queues for a long time and they are able to vote in a smooth manner. In addition, another notable feature of the elections has been that out of 2,968 booths in the state, 604 booths, more than 20%, were manned by all women polling party. This is highest in any state in the country. Till now, we are not aware of any state wherein more than 20% of the polling stations have been completely manned by women polling team. And they have all demonstrated a very successful, because repolls in these polling stations have been minimum. We have not come across many repolls in the polling stations which have been manned by all women polling teams. Further, 5 assembly constituencies in the state out of 60, that was Singjamai, Yaskul, Wangkhai, Thobal and Churachandpur, were completely manned by women polling personnel. That is also a first for the state of Manipur. In addition to 604 booths of all manned by women, there were 113 polling stations which were set up as a model polling station, wherein selfie booth, creche facility, photo booth, etc. were also set up to make the whole polling experience more, bring in more festivity in the whole polling experience. And the people actually enjoyed, posted their selfies, enjoyed taking their photos after voting, and some of them also came forward to share their experience with our media team which was there on the polling stations. Another notable feature of this election has been that before the elections were announced, for last 6 months, the CEO office along with all the DOs had identified 333 polling stations in the state where traditionally the voting percentage has been low. The participation of people has been low. In all these 333 polling stations, extensive sweep program was undertaken, awareness program was undertaken through the district election officers, through the ROs and through the BLOs. And as an outcome of all this effort that was specifically met in these 333 polling stations, there has been an increase of more than 10% turnout in these 333. And we had launched a mission called Mission 300 in the state of Manipur with the idea that all the low turnout areas, we should be able to spread awareness, motivate people to come out and vote. And as a result, we have achieved more than 10% increase in voter turnout in these 333 polling stations. For the poll, we had deployed a total of 4,251 ballot units, 4,181 control units, and 4,576 VVPAT, and 47 ECIL engineers for the conduct of poll through the EVM machines. And they have been all, and I am very happy to inform, in spite of 140 odd technical problems that we encountered on the poll day in the EVM machines in the early hours of poll, all these technical issues were sorted out or EVM replaced in a timely manner, and no poll was disrupted due to any technical glitch in the EVM. This is also a first for the state of Manipur. To ensure COVID-safe election, you must have seen that we ensured that thermal scanning is done through our Anganwadi and ASA workers at the polling station. For social distancing in the queue, proper queue marking is done. In addition, masks are also made available to voters who require the same. And accordingly, with the help of our volunteers, our ASA and Anganwadi workers, and the active support of all the electors, we can say that elections have been held in a COVID-appropriate behavior, where largely people have maintained social distancing, used masks to see that there is no spread of COVID due to the election process. In addition, for medical ambulance, we had 3 helicopters which were lined up in the state during the poll day to ensure that in case of any need for emergency evacuation of polling personnel or entire election machinery due to some medical emergency, it can be done in a seamless manner. And I'm happy to inform that all the people who got injured due to some accident or due to some accidental firing or due to any reason whatsoever, they were all evacuated in time, and accordingly all of them were given cashless treatment at RIMS and JNIMS, and all except for 4 who got diseased, not in the hospital but on the way or at the spot only. Rest all were cured, and they are all on their way to back to home. Wherever if the security forces have come from outside, they are going back, they have gone back, or if there are polling personnel from within the state, they have gone back to their homes. So the medical team and the effort that we put in to bring together the medical team and RRTs in all the district headquarters gave good dividends in terms of very quick response whenever there is a medical emergency that occurred. In addition, the 3 helicopters that we had deployed were also used to evacuate 25 polling station presiding officers along with the EVM machines, 17 for Tipaimuk assembly constituencies and 8 for Tamai assembly constituencies on the next day early morning, from the day after the polls early morning, so that we can ensure that all the polling personnel reach the strong room in the shortest possible time, and the scrutiny of the assembly constituency can be conducted as soon as possible. So this facility was also very useful. In addition, you'd recall that this elections we had record seizures of rupees 170 crore as against rupees 5 crore in 2017. So this was a 38-fold increase in the seizures that we saw in these elections. A total of 6.14 crore of cash, 143 crores of drugs and narcotics, and 12 crore worth of gold, and 7.4 crore worth of other items and freebies were seized during general elections by the enforcement agencies, including police, flying squad, income tax, and excise. Further, we have taken adequate preventive measures to ensure free and fair elections in the state. This general elections witnessed a record deposit of 81% of the total licensed arm in the state, as compared to 60%, approximately 60% in 2017. And we also bound down 7,245 persons were bound down under various sections of CRPC during these elections, as compared to 1,854 in 2017. Further, 3,117 people were identified as troublemongers and monitored closely, as against 673 in 2017. So what I am trying to see, that as a preventive measures, we had taken enough preventive measures to ensure that the elections are held in a free and fair atmosphere. In addition, facility arrangements were made for webcasting and videography at all the polling stations, and we have been able to execute it with more than 90% efficiency. That is also, I think, for the first for the state of Manipur. We have never been able to achieve this kind of efficiency as far as webcasting and videography is concerned. And the monitoring through webcasting was done not only from the CEO office here, control room at the CEO office, but from all the district election officers' office and the control rooms there also, to see that free and fair poll is conducted in the best possible manner. In addition, this time we deployed a record of 300 companies of CAPF in the state for conduct of elections, which is also one of the highest for the state. And a total of 763 micro observers were also deployed. These are central government employees which are deployed on the critical polling stations. They were also deployed in the state to supervise the poll proceedings at the polling stations. In addition, a total of 20 general observers, 11 police observers, and 20 expenditure observers were deployed by Election Commission of India to monitor the poll process in the state. In addition, 3 special observers were also appointed by Election Commission of India to monitor the poll process in the state. The movement of EVMs in the state has been completely tracked by the e-tracker app, which were embedded in the mobile phones of polling teams and the sector magistrates. Besides, e-Atlas app was used to by the polling teams to enable report all incidents, including arrival at the polling station, any incident at the polling station, any technical glitch in the EVM, so that as soon as an event is reported, the same can be resolved in the shortest possible time. The EVMs, all the EVMs after the poll are in the safe custody in the strong rooms, and they have all been sealed in front of the candidates or their agents notified for the same. And all the strong rooms are 24/7 into CCTV surveillance, and a feed of that CCTV surveillance is being placed in rooms where the representatives of candidates are also allowed to stay if they so desire. In all the district headquarters it is being done. There are total 12 centers at which these strong rooms are there, where counting will happen tomorrow. And all these places there is a facility for the candidates and their representatives to stay and watch the CCTV surveillance of all these strong rooms. Now we come to the poll process that is left so far, the counting, which is now the time to with most important work that is left as of now. The counting process will start at 8 a.m. tomorrow sharp with the counting of postal ballots in 41 counting halls at 12 counting centers in the state. This will be succeeded by EVM counting also in the 41 counting halls at these 12 centers from 8:30 a.m. onwards. Counting of 41 assembly constituency will be taken up first in the first go. After completion of counting in the first round, complete for the assembly constituency, in 19 counting halls, the counting of remaining 19 assembly constituencies will also be taken up, and the same has already been notified to all the candidates, their agents and the political parties. Further, the DOs and Superintendent of Police in each district has been directed to make elaborate security arrangement for counting, including a minimum 3-tier security comprising of CAPF and Manipur Police. The entire process of counting, in addition to the returning officer, will also be supervised by 41 general observers who have been appointed by Election Commission of India. They have arrived in Manipur and they are looking at the counting arrangements as of now. Tomorrow they will be sitting with the returning officer in each of the counting hall and supervising the whole counting process. The process of counting will also be webcasted to all the district control rooms and also to the state control room at the CO office. All the counting halls, all 41 of them, have been fitted with cameras, and already the pilot runs are being done as we speak now. The trends and the final results of countings will be available in public domain on the voter helpline app and the website results.eci.gov.in. Further, the results will also be displayed centrally at Western Gate of Kangla. The results and update will also be available to press from the media cell at the CO office. Here also the media cell will also be there, happy to update you with all the election results. I have asked my media cell to get this conference room also ready, where the results can be displayed on all these 3 TV screens. So any media wanting to take an update can come and take the update from this conference hall also. Now lastly, I think it is now time, because we have been meeting for last 3 months. It is time for Thanksgiving also. We need to thank people who have actually played an important role in conduct of elections over last 2 to 3 months. I express my gratitude to all the stakeholders, especially voters, for their enthusiastic and fearless participation in the electoral process and repose faith in the democratic setup. I also thank the PWD, senior citizen, transgender voters for their active participation in the electoral process. They have set new records by their record participation, and I hope this trend carries on. I also recognize the relentless service of entire electoral machinery, including officials, polling officers, security personnel, ASHA, Anganwadi workers, supervisory staff, observers, special observers, enforcement agencies, state nodal officers, health authorities, as also the airlifting teams of Indian Air Force and Global Vectra for making comprehensive arrangement and dedicatedly working towards successful conduct of free, fair, transparent and participative elections. I also like to thank our friends from the media for playing a very constructive role over last 3 months, for taking our message to the electors, for keeping all the electors, all political parties informed of the due process, and playing a very positive and constructive role in conduct of elections in the state of Manipur. I look forward to this continued support and engagement with all our media friends as we go along, maybe in future also conduct of Lok Sabha and other assembly elections in the years to come. Thank you very much. Yes, please.
Sir, how many expenditure has been incurred in these elections from the government?
It will be very difficult to give a complete picture, because but there are multiple heads in which expenditures are conducted. I think overall expenditure will depend on what is the security expenditure, but it will be more than, if you combine all the expenditure on CAPF, all the expenditure done by the CO office, DOs, everything, it will be nothing less than, I think, 130, 140 crores. But that is a figure that I am just guesstimating. The actual figure will be out only when.
So one last question. 69,771 voters. Out of this, how many voters have yet to turn up for voting?
See, we have got approximately 20 lakhs, 69,000, including service voters, you are saying. So approximately, I think 2 lakh voters have not turned up. Our total electoral turnout is somewhere around 18.6, 18.7 lakhs, including the postal ballots and service voters and everything. Around 18.6, 18.7 lakhs. What is it? So including postal ballots and all, it will be around 18.6 lakhs as compared to total 20.69 lakh voters.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
If I do not ask this question, it would be regretful for me.
Yes, please.
There were complaints about reflecting camera or turning away CCTV from the what do you call it, polling booth. So, what is there any kind of illegitimacy in letting those who want to know want to see the CCTV footage? Is there any kind of restriction?
See, there is a lot of miscommunication on this. The CCTV footage and the video camera, videography that is done is for the election machinery to watch. It cannot be made public, it cannot be shared with the election candidates or the political parties as per the ECI guidelines. These footages are to corroborate incidents on a poll day. On a polling station, the presiding officer is the magistrate who conducts the election, and it is the presiding officer whose input or whose input on all the happenings of the poll day are the most important findings. In addition, there is a micro observer in most of the critical polling stations whose observations have also got very important say in the overall conduct of poll process. Further, we have got a system designed by ECI also, wherein sector magistrate with sector police officers take a round of all the polling stations under their charge. They at least go 3 to 4 times that polling station on random basis on the poll day, and they oversee the poll process and also take data and other feedback from the presiding officer and the team there. That is also a very strong document to corroborate. In addition, there are general observers who oversee the poll process in addition to returning officers, and their observation about the poll process is also important. Wherever there has been a doubt or a complaint, specific complaint regarding any wrongdoing in the poll process, the video footage or the video recording has been shared with the returning officer on their request or the general observer to have a look at it and corroborate whatever evidence they do have to see whether the poll process has been vitiated. The decisions have been taken by the returning officers and the observers. You cannot see videography or webcasting of all the 3,000 polling stations. But if there are complaints for 100 odd polling stations, people have watched the videography or their content and taken that also in view while deciding upon any further course of action for that polling station.
And one more thing which concerned the people was that the VVPAT has been exposed to what do you call that, essence. So when such things happen, I mean, it won't be free for the voters.
See, secrecy of vote, I got your point. The secrecy of vote has to be protected in every which manner it is possible. We also came across some instances where VVPAT sometimes were kept outside voting compartment. Wherever it was visible on the webcasting, it was immediately, same was got corrected. And that is why this instance in second phase of election was very less. In first phase of election, it was there in some polling stations which we got it corrected as soon as we noticed it. When we do webcasting, there is an entire team sitting here which watches it. There is an entire team sitting in district which watches it. And I can assure you there is a team sitting in ECI which also watches the webcasting because they also get the feed. And some corrections have been brought in by them also on the poll day. There have been instances wherein they have rang us from us or they have sent us feed. This polling station, the camera location is wrong, or this polling station, the camera is not pointing in the right direction. So all those things have been sorted out during the poll day as soon as these messages have been done. So we have tried our best, and that's why I told you, in Manipur, this is the first time that we have been able to do webcasting and videography of all polling stations with more than 90% success. this is only an additional means to corroborate the poll process. This is not the mandatory means. It is not mandatory to do it, but it is an additional means. We already have CAPF deployment at all the polling stations. We already have micro observers at all the critical polling stations. This is only an additional effort we did, and frankly, this effort helps that in many ways, because we were able to tackle many complaints because the video footage was very clear, and we were able to decide on many repoll, the observers and the returning officer, because the video footage corroborated a finding. So this has been very useful, I'll say, for the state this time. Any other issues? Thank you. Thank you very much, and let's hope a good day tomorrow. Thank you.